Well, strap yourselves in, ladies and gentlemen, because round one of League Zero at the Virginia International Raceway was about as calm as a tornado in a tumble dryer. Right off the line, Cameron Dance decided that second place was just the first loser and promptly took P2 from Jace Meyer before anyone had time to sip their tea. Not content with that, he set his sights on James S. Turnbull and snatched P1 quicker than a seagull pinching chips at the seaside. Clearly, Cameron was in a hurry. Perhaps he had a dinner reservation he didn't want to miss. But as fate would have it, Cameron's race turned into a highlight reel of how not to navigate VAR. Lap 2 saw him running into trouble not once, not twice, but 5 times across all 3 sectors. It was as if he was on a personal mission to explore every inch of the track's runoff areas. Maybe he was testing out new shortcuts. Unfortunately, race control doesn't give points for creativity. Meanwhile, Antonio Bianchi, who'd spent the week on Discord fretting over team registrations and pondering whether fans prefer live or tape-delayed broadcasts, seemed to be living in his own delayed telecast. Lap 1 had him overtaking drivers left and right, but then Sector 3 became his Bermuda Triangle. He had more troubles there than an internet provider during peak Netflix hours. Perhaps he should have spent less time on broadcast debates and more on remembering which pedal does what. Speaking of alternative approaches, Michael Fairchild might have dipped into his stash of CBD and THC gummies pre-race. After his enthusiastic online discussions about their benefits for focus and stress relief, his performance on track suggested he was a tad too relaxed. Sure, he climbed up to P7 after some spirited overtakes, but then leisurely drifted back to finish P8. At least he was probably the calmest driver out there, possibly humming a tune while others panicked. Now, Gale Rolls, the man who cheekily compared himself to Jackie Stewart on social media, had a race that was less Flying Scott and more Strolling Scott. Engaging in playful banter about on-track incidents seemed prophetic as he found himself yo-yoing between P12 and P16. At one point, he and Gareth McAllister swapped positions so often, you'd think they were sharing dance steps. In the end, Gale settled for P12, perhaps realizing that emulating Jackie requires more than just witty comparisons. Amidst the chaos, Elliot Corti emerged as the silent assassin. Fuss no drama, just pure racing. By lap 3, he slid past Kyle Deckard into P3 with the smoothness of a hot knife through butter. Then, capitalizing on Cameron Dance's impromptu off-road adventures, he climbed to P1 on lap 24 without so much as a scratch. Some say he's so precise, he could thread a needle while behind the wheel. Ryan Tabot had a race busier than a sandwich shop at lunchtime. Overtaking and being overtaken more times than one could count, he fought valiantly to maintain a top position. Despite being treated like a revolving door, he secured P5. Not too shabby, considering he probably had a severe case of whiplash from all that action. And let's not forget about Kyle Deckard. His race was a roller coaster, literally. After tussling with the leaders and even holding P3, lap 15 saw him taking an unscheduled detour off the track. Perhaps he wanted to check if the grass was greener on the other side? Nonetheless, he composed himself and clawed back to finish on the podium. A performance that says, I may wander, but I'll get there in the end. Shaji Zuhair played it cool, climbing up to finish P4 without making a fuss. While others were busy reenacting scenes from bumper cars, Shaji kept it clean and efficient. Maybe he was motivated by the thought of discussing his success on Discord later, without needing to make excuses. As the checkered flag waved, it was a triumphant finish for Elliot Corti in P1, with James S. Turnbull claiming P2, probably still puzzled about how he ended up behind Elliot, despite avoiding all the madness. Kyle completed the podium in P3, a just reward for his tenacity. Meanwhile, backmarkers like Nobe M. Emil and Felipe F. Ramos had races they'd rather forget, entangled in more sector troubles than a faulty GPS. And somewhere out there, Antonio is possibly still debating the merits of live broadcasts over delayed ones. Ironic, given his penchant for timing today. In conclusion, round 1 was a symphony of speed, mishaps, and the kind of on-track drama that makes reality TV look tame. If this race is anything to go by, We're in for a season that's as unpredictable as Michael's focus levels after a few gummies. Get your popcorn ready, folks. Just maybe avoid the ones Michael's having.